Hey everybody, welcome to the Straight Talk for the Soul series. I'm Carrie Murphy and I'm so happy that you're here with us today. It's Thanksgiving week here in America and I'm so thankful that you are here with us today. My co-creative partner is Meg Benedicte, and we're going to be talking about Ascension, of course. We're going to be talking about we're kind of going to flow with a lot of things. There's so much to talk about today, but I want to thank you for the gift of your time and presence here. If you haven't subscribed to this show, please do so at straighttalkforthesoul.com. You can also find us on iTunes and YouTube and Facebook, and it's wonderful to walk hand in hand and heart to heart with all of you from around the world. I love experiencing this journey of expansion and healing and exploration and liberation and ascension with all of you. Grateful that we're going to be doing some expanding together today. So I encourage you to slow down, breathe, place your hand on your heart if inspired, relax. Set an intention for what you want to experience with us today. Just give yourself the gift of opening your heart so that you can receive all the insights that your soul intends for you to receive today. And if you're listening to this live, you're welcome to send us your questions and comments in the webcast Q&A box. And I'll be checking that as we go along here. And we may take some live callers later on in the call, so press *2 to raise your hand. Meg will also be doing an activation towards the end of the call, so be sure and stay tuned for that. We're also going to talk about, Meg is going to guide us through some practical steps in the live quantum access with the activation. Your energy frequencies are going to soar. That's our intention anyway. Meg will use sacred geometry to create mind and heart coherence and guide us into opening that soul stargate. And let me tell you a little bit about Meg, and then we'll go ahead and dive in because we have a lot to talk about today. Meg Benedicte is a quantum healer. She's an alchemist, an ascension activator, and the creator of Quantum Access, a powerful healing technique that quickly shifts consciousness, unlocks karma, and removes energetic patterns to accelerate your personal ascension. In 1994, Meg experienced a spontaneous Kundalini awakening or activation during the earthquake in Los Angeles, and following the guidance and wisdom of her higher self and personal connection with Archangel Metatron, Meg channeled Quantum Access, the ascension process taught in ancient mystery schools. We'll talk to her about that. For the past 20 years, I think it's even been more like 25 now, Meg has been sharing quantum access in her private healing practice with international audiences and webinars, global meditations, radio shows, and her book, Soul Realized, Unlocking the Sacred Keys of Becoming a Divine Human. So I am very grateful to have her back here with me. We always have a wonderful time. So please join me in extending waves and waves of love and light and appreciation to Meg as I welcome her back to the show. So Meg, welcome back.
Oh, my goodness, what an intro. Thank you. I'm feeling all that love. It's so great to be here with you.
I love having you here because you, not only are you so open-hearted, but you explain some of the seemingly complex things in such a beautiful way. And I love that about you, Meg. As I mentioned to you before we started, this community continues to grow. So a lot of people know you very well and are very familiar with you, but Meg, some are not. As I mentioned, what year was it that you had your Kundalini activation?
It's January 1994, so I'm coming up on my 25-year anniversary.
Okay. Woo! Party time. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So when you look back and, the way that you have described that experience, has it changed over the years, or what feels important to share about it now?
It was life-altering for sure, because it really was, in a sense, a complete blowing open of my biocircuitry, and my soul was able to come in and enter into the body, heart, mind, and it, I had before that a very kind of traditional corporate life, right? I was 34, I think, and so everything just went in a whole new direction. Mm-hmm. And even while I was just kind of lying there stunned, as all of this was coming into the body, because the earthquake happened in the middle of the night, so you're just like in shock and some trauma and just kind of going, what the heck just happened? But immediately, within days, I already started to get, we call these like transmissions coming in from my higher soul presence, and it's like, oh, I want to be doing energy healing. I didn't even know what that was. It's like, oh, we got to get ready for 2012. I mean, that was 18 years away. It was like, what the heck is all this? And so it was very disorienting, and it took me quite a while to kind of get my bearings. But from the get-go, I started realizing I need to meditate. I never had done meditation. I just knew I need to quiet the mind and open up my kind of to my higher mind and get guidance daily on how to do this whole ascension process. So in a way, as I was going through it myself, then that gave me kind of a blueprint on how to help others in client sessions and in groups to also start to go through it themselves. Personally, I think it's better to gradually open up your Kundalini instead of having it just like blow you open. That was horrible. Right. So I think, I would bet most of you are going through a gradual up leveling and upgrading of your capacity to run Kundalini. But this is really a profound experience, and it's all happening mostly inside us, and it's really beginning to convert us from living in a very restricted mental capacity and physicality, and even a very undeveloped, immature emotional bodies. Like, we're really opening and expanding and evolving very fast, and so it's just like kind of hold on tight and go for the ride, because if you're fighting it or resisting it, it's worse. So it's better.
It's a lot more it's a lot bumpier that way. That's fascinating to me. As much as I've spoken with you, each time I hear your story, I think it's like you didn't plan any of that. You didn't ask for a Kundalini activation. And do you feel at this point that this is what you set into motion for yourself in this lifetime, and it was just kind of like waking you up? You had just kind of forgotten?
Yes. It was definitely in my I call it our life plan or our blueprint. It was definitely coded in there for that timing, and I chose that certain incarnation for the astrology and to support me to do this work. And someone mentioned to me that they had read in Cryon that he channeled that it was a 36-year process, 18 years before 2012, 18 years after 2012. So then with that in mind, I guess I came in right when we started in January 94. So it does feel like it was very intentional to come in then.
Yeah, well, we're all glad you're here because you provide so much. Yeah. Before we go into quantum, everything that you're doing, you and I were talking briefly before we started about what's currently going on in California with the fires and everything, and I get a lot of emails from people wanting some perspective on this, and I feel like it's worth talking about, at least for a few minutes, maybe your perspective on what's happening and how people can kind of navigate through their confusion with it or whatever they're feeling.
Yeah, because it is alarming, and it's unsettling to see what's happening with the climate change, and just to kind of pop up to the bigger picture and kind of look from the bird's eye view down what's happening here on the global level. This has been predicted for at least 50 years in the New Age channelings. That's when I started reading about it. Of course, after my awakening, I was like, okay, what's happening on this planet? We, since 2012, our solar system has been fully immersed in a photon gamma band. If you can even see pictures of it at NASA.com, and its gamma light is very high frequency light. This is what they use for X-rays. I mean, this is really powerful high frequency light, and this is pouring into our planet. And so you got to think about it in a way. We are having a hothouse effect, but I don't think we can point to just one thing. I think we're having all of this new consciousness entering the planet through the gamma photon light, but we're also polluting our planet as well. So, we've got a bunch of variables happening here that are kind of like the perfect storm, and they're all coming together, and they're creating very extreme weather. I have been shown for years that there would be massive migration from some of these areas. So we're here in the United States, and I've always seen California and like Florida. These places are going to have trouble. Any coastal region could be underwater soon. And the fires, I mean, it is so dry. If you haven't been to California, it is so dry. It's like negative humidity. It's like fire in the air, okay? And so we're like all you need is a spark, and then it goes. So what we have to do is, again, tune inwards to our higher self guidance, like where is it safe for me to go? And it's interesting, as we're talking about this, I just remembered that, earlier this year I kept getting a notice from my higher self that I'm going to be moving again, and I'm just like, oh, you've got to be kidding. And I'm seeing that where I'm living, they're going to sell the property. And now, of course, this was 6 months ago. It's happening. But I really felt called to move back to Malibu. And so I kept going. Every month I go down to LA and I go and scout out Malibu and look at places to rent. I lived in Malibu through fires, in the 86 fires. So I understand how Malibu runs. I understand its energy, but it just feels like home. And I kept going, and it was really close to start to put an application down to live there. And then I got the strongest feeling and heard the message, you will lose everything you value if you move to Malibu. And lo and behold, it's burned. So it's like, follow what your gut tells you, follow what your heart tells you, because that's going to guide us where we will be safe, we'll be able to continue to ascend and live our life out fully. But there are areas that are going to have some trouble.
Yeah, I mean, do you see it slowing down or stopping soon?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. And I also think, then we can go more the esoteric level, because that was kind of just practical 3D. The esoteric level is this 3D planet of duality, of extreme polarity, is in its last dying breath. It's in its last throes. And so we're going to, what I've been seeing through the astrology is a great map for what's coming. And the 2020 astrology is like off the charts, you guys. This is like radical changes coming in 2020. And I feel like that will be when we really start to see the parting of the two worlds. So we have these two Earth planes that are existing right now. They're parallel Earth planes. So we have this 3D polarized Earth plane, and then we have this 5D and higher beautiful Earth plane that is very harmonious. It's in unity consciousness, and we access it through the heart. And so the more of us that start to move in and into the 5D field and live in that 5D field and really anchor it here on the planet, we're going to see those two worlds really start to pull apart. Right now, they're kind of interconnected. You can walk down the street and see some people in the 3D field and some people in the 5D field, and you are actually starting to see more and more communities starting to become one or the other. I moved into a community here in Ashland, Oregon, very progressive, like lots of old hippies, and young hippies, and we're all about sustainability and eco-living and organic living and all of that. So you start to see these two worlds start to pull apart. So again, the earth changes are responding to this shift in consciousness and the changing of the kind of the paradigm and a cleansing effect in nature. But then there's also points of nature where it's just pure magic. You go into it and it's like a field of order. It's a 0-point field. So we have both. We have kind of the collapsing side, then we have this beautiful kind of what I would call quantum or infinite field that's opening up for us to be in.
What would you say to the listeners who are wanting to positively contribute or participate in the new way of being and the more progressive 5D or beyond, way of living here on the planet? What are some elements of that you see that we can contribute to?
Yes, and I see this all the time in client sessions and reading their blueprint, and they have gifts to bring here. They have contributions, and this runs the whole gamut. Like this can be more of what we would consider maybe being, a healer or body worker or energy worker. But that's not for everybody. Everybody's got their gift, and it could be where they're very forward-thinking and they're bringing in consciousness from, let's say, other times, other civilizations of how to live in harmony and how to live in concert with nature and the kind of the cycles of nature. One of the first things that happened after my awakening is I kept getting pulled. I lived at the beach in LA, and I kept getting pulled out onto the jetty, and they're like, you have got to merge with the elements. And so I'd stand there at the edge of the water, and I breathe in water and fire and the sun and air and earth, and the more that we actually immerse ourselves in nature, we start to go into harmony with it and into living in the cycles with it and beginning to respect the water, respect the air, respect the animals. It's a whole different perspective and way of living on this planet instead of consumerism and capitalism and greed and competition. Like, that's all the old 3D polarized characteristics, and we're trying to move away from that. So you could start with just your family or your neighborhood, or maybe join any kind of type of organization in your area that is to begin to build new ways of living that are sustainable and honoring of ecology and the environment and these kinds of things. You could come up with an invention. New technology is already starting to take hold, and as we see in solar power, wind power, these great inventions to go clean up the oceans. Like, there's so much that you can do. You could be using sound, or you could be using art, you could be writing, inspiring. There's so many ways that we can contribute. And I do feel this ascension process can be very kind of isolating. It's very inner and personal, but I think once you start to integrate the changes and you begin to kind of come more into a daily kind of meditative living, you're in more of the flow, then I feel you start to get pulled back out and to get involved. So we kind of go in, clean up
the
stuff,
balancing
heal,
act.
right? Yeah. And then we get pulled out to contribute.
Yeah, and I'm glad we're talking about that, because I like to be very practical on this show, as well as, clearly this is a very progressive audience, and a lot of empaths, a lot of healers, a lot of intuitives. But it's important to talk about what we can practically do while we're here. And I was feeling guided to ask you, after we just talked about the fires and everything, and then hearing that perhaps it's not going to be changing anytime soon, I was kind of feeling the impasse in our audience, like, what can I do? What can I do to support all of these beautiful beings in California, or the animals? What do you say to that?
Well, as an empath, you have the ability to entrain with wherever you focus, and so you can entrain to the planet where as it goes through this big shift and kind of the separation of the two worlds. In a way, I feel that we're balancers, right? And so the more that you're able to be really steady and holding 0 point in your heart and your mind and being really stable presence, and emanating that out into the earth plane and to all around you, you are helping to kind of minimize the extremes of the shift. Also, too, many light workers are what I call earth keepers or grid workers or gatekeepers. And so I find that a lot of times I'll wake up and I see my souls working on, like, balancing the earth grid, or, trying to minimize, like, earthquakes or volcanoes, or there's lots you can do in that sense that is really helpful. And you can do it on your own, or you can also join with other empaths, and then that really kind of exponentially powers it, where you come and form like a group mind, and then you're helping to work with the planetary field. I do these every month, and we're able to really set our vision and our intention of how we want the future to unfold. And so you kind of think of it, this earth plane it is a holographic field, and so it's very responsive to our visioning and our intentions, our heart's desires. It's alive. And so the more that you fill it with see the world in its beauty and glory and power instead of seeing it as collapsing. Let's see it in what we want it to now transform into instead of what we're witnessing of the collapse. So it's also too, as an empath, try not to take in the fear that's happening in those who don't understand what's happening, right? I can feel that at times, and it's really strong. And so you could also use your ability as a transmutator and take all that fear, the collective fear and anxiety, and just move it into the light and just keep kind of dissolving it so it doesn't take hold, doesn't take over. So there's lots of ways we can do it as transmitters and transmutators and earth keepers. That's why we're here, I think, is we're kind of the balancers.
Yeah, anybody who would be listening to a show like this, we're here to be proactive participants and not feel disempowered by what's going on. And, we're not intended to be passive or powerless. We're really here.
No.
And every little thing we do, joining together in groups like this is huge. And, and then taking that energy back into our daily lives and what we do matters so much. But, okay, I'm glad we brought that up because I don't like to ignore what's going on presently. It's on the minds and the hearts of so many, so I'm glad we did that. But now let's talk a little bit more about you and this quantum energy medicine and teaching the Ascension process. Meg, I've come to realize that everybody describes Ascension differently. Having interviewed hundreds of people over the years, I'd love your perspective on what is going on and how you involve this quantum energy medicine into the mix.
Sure. So it's such a fascinating process, and yet, like you said, it is rather personal how we all experience it. But kind of on a bigger level, it is where we are breaking free of a matrix simulation that's been running in our minds, running on the planet, locking us into linear time sequencing, into polarity. This is the we have two opposite poles on this planet, locking us into this kind of duality, push-pull between opposite extremes. And as we start to awaken from that simulation, we begin to realize, we're not everything's as it seems. Wait a minute, what's happening here? And so that's rather jarring. This awakening process is where you begin to understand, things are being suppressed here. Not everything's being, told as truthful. So you begin to kind of dig around and see, kind of peel the veils, peel the layers of this illusion, and you're also trying to peel the layers off yourself, right, to get this body and heart and mind free of any kind of suppression or control. And as you do that, it creates this up-leveling, step-by-step process into higher frequency in both your own energy and the planet, as we're seeing. And if you even want to go kind of practical steps, this is where we're opening up our energy body, and this includes the chakra channel. So we're talking about elevating ourselves up the chakras, because we've all been locked into these lower human kind of 3D based chakras, and they're loaded with emotional trauma and memory that needs to get cleared and healed. And we also came into birth families that have ancestral lineage that we need to break from and clear. And so now once you're awake and you understand, okay, I got to kind of break free and clean this stuff out, that takes some work. And so that's the process of, I call it internal house cleaning. We just start opening up, clearing trauma, memory, resolving karma. You start to connect. Your awareness begins to open to more of your past life experience so you can heal those. And so it's a gradual awareness that just keeps exponentially opening and expanding to way beyond your own little story, more to the global story, then more to the galactic story. Mm-hmm. And you're learning how to live on light instead of, let's say, dense emotions or drama or heavy food. You begin to live on light, and it's a complete transformation inside us and how we experience life. And it, as I mentioned, we become more heart-centered, heart-based instead of that left brain, analytical analytical mind. We were born into a left brain dominant society. We're starting to shift from that and move more back into our heart center and being the empath, feeling, sensing, opening up all of your, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience. You start to live as a multidimensional being, and it's pretty extraordinary.
Yes, it is. It is. So you developed quantum access, and those who are familiar with you may know about it. But let's talk about what it is, and really describe why it's so powerful. What's unique about it. I mean, do you consider it energy medicine?
Yeah, and even more than that, though, because it's not just healing, let's say, disease or imbalances, but it literally is activating your light body. When I first started awakening, I kept getting guided to imagine I'm drawing a circle with 12 points inside, and I'm going to step in the center, and I'm going to start spinning it. And I didn't know what the hell that meant. Like, what? So I had to kind of go on faith and start it and see what developed. And so what over time, as my higher brain centers opened up, I could kind of time travel into other incarnations I was here, and I dropped into the original Egyptian civilization called Zep-Tepi, dropped into the mystery schools, and began to realize, oh, that's what's happening. I'm actually working with the sacred geometry. It's the template of creation in this universe, and it's called Metatrons Cube, and that's when I really began to, I actually had a visitation from Metatron, and he activated my ability to channel this and share this process, and it's embedded in Metatron's Cube is the double star tetrahedron Merkaba, which is the geometry of our light body, our energy body, and the torus momentum, the spin momentum. And so when you work with it daily, this opens up and it starts to activate all of this inside you. And that's how it started for me. And it also helps clear, so it can bring energy in. It creates a very powerful vortex. It can create energy inside you, so that means you can pull more of your soul presence inside you, or you can release, you can clear outwards, like family patterning or trauma or past life history, So it's a really great tool. It's an ascension tool that's helping us to recreate ourselves literally from the molecular level. And so this is the process that I believe is ancient and has been around a long time, and we're starting to remember how to use it again and apply it both to our own human energy field and also to the planetary field. And it's interesting. Some people take to it immediately and they're off and running with it, and that tells me, okay, they have some past life with this. They already understand this. Some people, it's totally new. They've never seen anything like it. So it's just here for you to work with, and here to apply it in your life if you're drawn to it. Again, as you said, everyone has their own personal ascension plan. So this is for those who are really drawn to sacred geometry and especially to Metatron's support here of this ascension. I just can't even imagine doing without that support. So it's a lot of angelic support here to help us.
Yeah. So you've clearly had multiple lifetimes in Egypt, and participating in the mystery schools. Have you been back to Egypt in this lifetime?
I haven't. I haven't been drawn to it because it's still running so much of the patriarchy. I think once that gets less and less, I would be ready to go there, but I haven't been drawn to it yet. I'm just working with it remotely in time.
Right. Right. You don't have to be there. So how does Metatron factor into all of this? For someone who's new to your teachings and new to all of this, describe Metatron's Cube. What is it? How does it play a role? And I know some of you may know this, so be patient as we share all of these things with some of our new members. So what can you share on that?
Yeah, real quick, Metatron is an archangel, very they call him like the kind of the right-hand man of Creator. You know, he's here as an activator of alchemy. So all the archangels have their specialty. Metatrons is of alchemy. And so what is alchemy? Alchemy is transforming form. You know, it's literally changing from one form to another. Of course, in the esoteric history, they were thinking about, you know, changing iron to gold, but this is really more about changing ourselves to gold, you know, changing ourselves to golden light. So Metatron has this, it's a template. It's called Metatrons Cube. It's made up of an outer ring of 6 circles, an inner ring of 6 circles, and then a central 13th circle. And 12, you're going to see 12 everywhere. It's such a sacred master number. It's a universal ascension code, and it connects us to the 12th dimensional Christ consciousness. It's also representing the 12 dimensions of our universe, the 12-strand DNA, obviously the 12 codes here in Metatronian geometry, the 12 phi harmonics. We see it in our clocks. We see it in our astrology. It's a template of our universe, and it was birthed, in a sense, from what I hear from my channelings of the 12 tribes of the Great Central Sun. And so this is where you think of the kind of the 12 star systems came together and created this beautiful human race with 12-strand DNA. That's how I see humans when I go back to the original timeline. We only have 2 strands of DNA now. We have devolved and been genetically re-engineered to the point where we're barely alive. And so this is where that's part of the ascension, is to begin to repair and replace the, kind of the destroyed hybrid human code, and begin to birth alive all this dormant DNA. They, scientists don't know what to call it, so they call it junk DNA, but that's our multidimensional DNA waiting for us to go through this activation. So that's what Metatrons Cube is helping us with. As I mentioned, it does have the Merkaba embedded in it. And just real quick, it's an upward-facing tetrahedron and a downward-facing tetrahedron. They overlap at the heart center. The heart is the main mechanism of activating and running that Merkaba. It creates a magnetic flow of energy coming in and releasing out. So we're not, in a sense, separate from the universe. We start to get back in alignment with the rhythm of the universe, and we become self-sustaining beings. This should actually stop aging. That's what the dual spin of the double-strand helix is causing aging. It's holding us locked in time. And so the more that we work with Metatrons Cube and work in this process and open everything up, we begin to break free of duality. And even when you see, a lot of this kind of storyline running of good versus evil, we're going to even rise beyond that. We're going to transcend even that polarized push-pull battle that's going on in the planetary field. We're going to go into what's called unity consciousness, where we're able to be in union with all energy and peace and harmony. So it's really a powerful tool, and Metatron, of course, is here, loves all of us, and is guiding this ascension very closely.
Thank you for that. And for those that are listening that really want to learn this and learn quantum access and have it be a part of their daily lives, part of your offer, which we'll talk about in a little bit, includes a lot of that for people who really want to go deeper and practice this on a daily basis, like I'm sure that you do. So, Meg, as you have been practicing this and refining it over the years, because what has it been now, 20 years-ish, 20, 25 years?
Yeah, over 20 years, yeah.
So I imagine that you practice this every day?
I do, and it's interesting. When I first started, of course, the world was very dense. Everything was locked down, and it would take me months just to try to pull one little, code out or pattern out. It was really laborious. But once we passed through the 2012 solstice, the time matrix unlocked, And that's really what was the most benefit of 2012. People are expecting a lot of things, but it was really where this lockdown on our minds and on our bodies living in time and duality, it let go. And so about, has it been 6 years? We every year it gets faster. Every year the energy is increasing. Every year since 2012, time is getting very fluid and fluctuating. It's losing its hold on us. And when this all unlocks, this opens us to the quantum field of all possibilities. So everything is faster now. Even in doing this process, I can move energies so much faster now and easier than when I started over 20 years ago. So that, to me, is just excellent. I mean, we can see so much progress since 20 years ago. It's really incredible.
Well, and it's excellent that we're going to do it all together today in a little while.
Yeah.
Each time we do this with you, it's better and better and better. And as we were talking, I'm looking at the imagery that we used on your special offer page, and there's they're awesome. If anyone wants to look at them while she's talking about, and while we're talking about all these concepts, it really gives you just support with regard to imagery. And you can go to straighttalkforthesoul.com/marketplace and click on Meg's picture. But some of these are so awesome, Meg. They really help us see what you're talking about.
I'm so visual, so I had to find some graphic artists, to help me, and I've just been really, really blessed to have, I kind of described to them, okay, this is how I'm seeing it, in my mind's eye, and they've been just really helpful to because look at a picture really does convey it quickly.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So let's talk about the quantum vortex, because that's the picture I'm looking at right now.
Okay.
So when it comes to quantum access, which is, what you share, what you teach, what you offer, describe the quantum vortex in all of this?
Okay. So if you are looking at that picture, you'll see that we bring Metatrons Cube into our grounding, and we activate it under our feet chakras. And this begins to open up and expand upwards from the feet up into the body, the double star tetrahedron, and it creates a spinning vortex that runs around the body and aura. So it's encompassing your entire aura. And what's so beautiful about it, it's spinning counterclockwise. And if you're new to kind of the spin momentum, that everything is spinning in this universe. It's either spinning counterclockwise or clockwise. And we've been in a time matrix, so we've been spinning in clockwise. And when you're in, that's the masculine femme. The feminine spin is counterclockwise or anticlockwise. Now, here's the difference in basic physics. When you spin clockwise, it compresses all your energy, and it gets denser and denser till it forms a particle, which we call atoms. And so the clockwise holds us in density and time. When we go opposite of that, it begins to unlock the time compression, and you are radiating outwards, and you begin to become more filled with light. It opens up your field to the quantum level, so you can actually begin to get in there and clean things out and open and activate your Kundalini. So we always spin this vortex around the aura counterclockwise. No matter which way you're going, up or down, in or out, it's always going to be helping you unlock, open up, and clear the density out of your field. And when you clear the density out, that then allows the soul presence to actually come down and in and merge inside you and really get present in your heart center. It's the density in time that's been pushing the soul out. The polarity, this kind of push-pull of opposites, pushes the soul out. So when we're able to get into what's called 0 point, which is neutral, non-polarized, and we open our channel and we raise our frequency, remove density, we are now a vessel for soul presence. So that's the power of this vortex, and it will really accelerate your ascension because it's spinning everything faster. It increases your energy frequency, or it helps you dump, like, basically, dead dead loads of excess baggage off your field. It's like really liberating.
Mm-hmm. It is, and I've been, ever since I first had you on the show, and I can't remember if you were on my radio show before this. I don't know. I know you've been around for a while. But every time you come, I learn something a little bit new, and I have practiced it. And I have connected with Metatrons Cube like for a long time now. Every morning when I go outside, I do it when I let my dog out, and I do connect. I do
nature.
Yeah, it's what I do every morning, and it's thanks to you, because that's not something. It fascinates and just amazes me that you see this. Like this imagery that I'm looking at, that you are able to see that is just amazing. And I mean, I think if someone were to print out, this imagery, it would really help with regard to practicing this on a daily basis. And what would you say, or what kind of feedback do you get from people who are, in terms of what to expect if they practice this?
Well, it's especially for those who are new to this, they immediately begin to notice something's happening. They start to feel like they're getting more balance, because it is that vortex is trying to balance your field. They're also feeling that they're able to clear energies that used to hold on, that were really kind of dense, and this could like spin it out real fast. They also start to feel more of their light coming in now. They can hold that inside, and I mean, it's really pretty fast results. It also can try to open up your biocircuitry, because it's been so dense in there. This is why acupuncture is so great, because we need to open up our biocircuitry. That's what your Kundalini is running in. So this helps open that up. They may feel, like aches or pains starting to release, because it was all blocked. The flow of energy was blocked in their circuitry, in their energy body. So it's a complete kind of accelerated lightning effect. And then you also start to, when you feel more presence inside your heart, especially as empaths, we begin to feel more inner strength and confidence, because that's directly coming from your soul presence. So you aren't as, anxious. You aren't as reactionary anymore to the world. You're able to hold more of that calm inner strength and confidence and courage. And I really noticed that shift for me. I used to live in anxiety 24/7, so that all dissolved. I used to have just torturing mind judgments running. I got able to clear that out. So it really does improve the life exponentially.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting that you even mention health challenges that can clear that up for people too. So once someone, say they learn this, and if they haven't already, many of our listeners are very familiar with this, but so like in the offer, you have the quantum access training, the Merkaba Stargate activation. So they would watch the training program, which all of this is available right away to them. And then there's a lot of stuff here, but then once they learn it, how long does it take on a daily basis to implement this?
It doesn't have to take too long. I even have short versions of 10-minute versions where you just run it while you're getting ready in the morning. It's important to get grounded every morning to your Ascension timeline, onto the Earth's light grid, opening up the vortex. So now you're creating this containment of kind of shields of light around you, so you're not just wide open to the collective. You're able to feel like you're in your own sacred space, and you get this flow of energy moving. This is what we need, the life force, the Kundalini moving, getting that soul into the heart. So it doesn't have to take a lot of time. And I found by repeating it daily, it begins to kind of acclimate to your field. And so it's always running eventually. And that's our goal, is that this is, if you look at that image, the outer circular flow is what's called the torus. The Merkaba is what's spinning it to create that inward and outward fluid motion. It's just it becomes active in the field, and it's running all the time. And so in a way, it starts to help you, balance you. It could be even doing mundane things, and all of a sudden I feel like, broop, and this energy just released. I was like, oh, thanks. I wasn't even thinking of that. Mm-hmm. So it starts to become your own powerful force field. And so just by daily use, it integrates with you and it listens to your commands. It's very responsive. It's quite intelligent, of course, and so it's able to respond to what you need at any time.
Well, and I want to say I'm grateful that you offer all of these teachings in a package like this. It's really generous. I mean, I think it's $97, and we have a 2-pay option for this. For those of you who have not learned all of this from Meg, it's beautiful information, healing information for your ascension. But what's interesting is you also have this video training in here. It's a 2.5-hour class with the Merkaba Stargate activation. What is that?
That is advanced stuff that I've tried to break down in very easy steps to work with Metatrons Cube, this process, and literally get your Merkaba up and running and working with you. And so this is, as you see in the vision, the image there is the double star tetrahedron. Some people call it the Star of David, but this is an ancient template of opening up your energy body to the higher dimensions. This opens up this is how I understand all this. By doing this regularly, it opened my mind to understand these concepts. I didn't understand this when I first started. I didn't have a clue. So it really opens you up to universal intelligence and knowledge, ancient knowledge, and being able to time travel, being able to drop in other timelines, be able to see what's happening. It kind of gives you the top-down vision of what's happening here. All of this is broken down for you in steps that you can work with. It has a workbook with more pictures to help you understand what we're doing, and then, of course, audio training and activations to help open up your Merkaba. This is our goal. We're trying to become multidimensional humans, and this is the mechanism. This Merkaba Taurus is our vehicle to become multidimensional humans.
I love it. And someone wrote in saying, how do I get to the images you're talking about? She said she went to the marketplace. You scroll down in the marketplace. Meg's picture is right on top. It's the very first offer. And just click on where it says special offer for Meg, and you'll see what we're talking about and all of the imagery. And I love the imagery. I think it's so powerful. So,
it is.
And I'm glad there's
it's already
more.
communicating to you. Yeah, just
it
looking
is.
at it, it's already.
It's like, oh, it's kind of like a remembrance. Like, oh, I know that, but I don't know. It's a weird thing. But and I want to remind everyone that we are going to be doing, Meg is going to be doing, I should say, an activation here. But I want to just mention the other elements of your offer while we're on it and talking about it. There's a still point power meditation. There's an awakening ascension, build heart magnetism, down MP3. Well, I'll let you describe it. There's a lot in here. I'll let you add whatever you feel is important to add that would be beneficial for those listening.
Real quick, this video, instructional video, this worked with a graphic artist to literally show you in video how Metatrons Cube opens all this up. So that's where you start. You kind of get an idea, okay, this is how it works. And then you can start applying it. So then there's, of course, just the intro meditation to quantum access, and then I created a awakening ascension training. So there's a workbook with more pictures and descriptions of what we're doing, and then I focused on some of kind of the highlights that we need to do as we go through this ascension process. So of course, increase your light frequency. I cannot tell you how important this is. You should be breathing light into your body every day. Okay, so you're replacing density and food and emotions and drama with light. So it's a big switchover. And that has a 20-minute activation for you. Then we got to transmute ego shadow, because this, of course, is what we would call our polarized self inside. That kind of is sabotaging our progress. So working with the ego, there's a 20-minute activation on that. And I had to spend some time on that one. It really wants to control the life, and it will start to resist your ascension. So getting a handle on that and being able to transmute that resistance. then healing core wounding. We have both probably some wounding from this life and past life, and this is all held in the body and the aura, and it's dense. And so again, we're healing where we're triggered. We're healing where we're wounded and being able to become whole and complete humans again. And then finally, as you mentioned, building heart magnetism, because if you look at the imagery of the Merkaba, if we go down to the Merkaba Stargate activation, and there's the picture right at the heart there, it's like a diamond Stargate. That's opening you to the quantum field. That opens you up into this fifth dimensional earth plane. And the heart usually is pretty loaded with grief and sadness and pain. And so we have to go in there and heal that heart. And then as we get more soul presence in the heart center, we build heart magnetism, soul magnetism. You start to draw in what meets you and matches you and supports you instead of drawing in a polarized opposite. That's huge right there. And I can't even tell you how my life improved when I was able to switch away from duality and the polarized opposition for everything I was doing and moving into heart magnetism, and then really drawing in the synchronicities that support my soul plan. So this is a great kind of overall package to get you off and running and really activating your ascension.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what better time than now, because it is a powerful time. We just had 11/11, and before we do the activation, I feel it's important to talk about these cosmic stargates, the 11/11. Okay. We have upcoming 12/12, 12/21, and you're the perfect person to explain that a little bit and talk about why it's significant. So let's talk about that before we do the activation.
Sure. So as you start to open up your brain centers to this universal intelligence, you begin to see there's this rhythm and cycle that's occurring here. And there are these esoteric timestamps, if you want to call them, or cosmic stargates that happen every year. And we, like Carrie mentioned, we just went through the 11/11/11 Stargate last Sunday, a week ago. But we're still in the 11/11 month and year. If you add 2018, it comes to 11. And 11 is a master number in numerology. It represents soul destiny and intuition. It represents enlightenment and Christ consciousness. So the more that we open and receive in and integrate in these upgrades, they're still coming in, you guys. So we'll work on that today to help bring in these are like threshold points where we boost up to the next threshold. It pushes us up, and what I saw happen since Sunday is it just kind of propelled us up into a much higher frequency band, more expanded soul life plan. I mean, it was huge. I don't even think we even understand all that just happened a week ago. We're still figuring this out. This was like, whoa. So it literally opens up the neural network in the brain to open to these higher dimensions. 11 also represents like two pillars. If you can look at it, it's a gateway, and it opens us up from the three-dimensional earth up into these higher dimensions, 5D earth and higher. And so it's really a powerful. It also represents the balance of the yin and yang, the feminine and masculine. So, and even if you look at 11:11, it represents the circuitry of this yin and yang energy. It's almost like our own neural network needs to get on board, right? It needs to get turned on. And so 11/11 is powerful. And then we're going into December, and we have 12/12 and 12/21. And 12/12 also is an Ascension portal code. It helps activate more of this Merkaba that we've been just talking about. 12 is, as I mentioned, is such a powerful number, and it is the frequency harmonics of Metatrons Cube. And so the more that we can work with it and step into that 12/12 portal coming up here in a month, this is again another really powerful day to receive in Christ consciousness into your field. What's so great about the solstice every year, I love the solstice. Of course, that was the powerful 2012 solstice that kind of lit this all up. You look at 12/21, they're actually mirror numbers. And so this the kind of the balancing of opposites that we have running on our planetary field. But the other thing that's so great about the solstice 1221, it's lining up exactly with the galactic center, which exists in 26, 27 degrees Sagittarius. So 1221, bam, smack dab. Think of it like a direct pathway to the galactic center, which is, of course, the source of all creation in our universe. And so that is a powerful manifesting day every year, 1221 on the solstice. So these are just to keep in mind, and you can do ceremony on those days. You can join global meditations on those days, get out in nature, open it, and receive the gifts, the blessings that are coming in those days.
Mm-hmm. Every question I had, you just flowed right into. So perfect job, Meg. Okay. Yeah, all of this is really important information, and I'm glad that we touched on a lot of different things. And I'm excited and ready for the activation. Describe what we're doing today with the group.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'll walk you through some just kind of beginner steps with getting Metatrons Cube working with you and in your field. We'll all go through that together. And then what I want to do is let's tune into these cosmic stargates right now. These are Ascension codes coming in. This is powerful light language coming in right now. We're lining right up with the galactic center. So I want to help everyone just kind of open, we're these transmitter receivers. This channel of ours is like an antenna tower. Think of it like that. And we broadcast out energy, and we also can then receive in energy. And we want to receive in these Stargate activations. They're going to help us. They're going to open us up. They're going to take us to the next level. And they're just so important to tune into right now. So, and I also want to, let's do a little work in the heart center, because this is where we all have to heal and help open this powerful heart center. Think of it like a big golden sun in your chest. You want that big, like a cosmic heart in your core, opening up and receiving in all that you need to support you in your soul's life and your soul's joy and your soul's mission. So it's when our hearts are shut down. I know when I first activated, my heart was all shut down and tight and contracted, and I had to do some breath work. I had to open and do healing work. So it's just, I think let's do a little focus on the heart too to help with this.
Okay, Meg, I'll let you do your thing, and thank you in advance for all that you've shared and all that we will all do together today. So, okay, I'll let you go. Okay,
you guys. All right, so we've been talking, so let's just kind of center back into our heart and come out of the mind and take a couple deep breaths. Inhale, exhale, and just come like you're stepping into your body and coming into your heart and your lungs and your belly. We're just stepping inside. And we want to also ground to the crystalline light grids of our planetary field. Now, we're working with the fifth dimensional field and higher now. So you take your intention and you decide, I'm going to ground my energy field onto the fifth dimensional field here. So we're using our feet chakras to do that. They work like magnets. And so if you can sit with your feet on the floor, that's the best. And you're using more of your right brain now. This is, we haven't been really using too much of our right brain in our lives, so we're starting to open that all up. This is the feminine brain, and it's also what we use for psychic ability, intuition. It's our multidimensional brain, what we use to imagine, but also it's what we used to receive, and we need to receive more of the blessings that are coming to our way now. So we're just kind of shifting out of that analytical left brain into the more intuitive right brain, and then just visualize as best you can. I'm working with all of you remotely, and so we're locking our feet magnets, our feet chakras onto the crystalline light grid of our 5D earth plane, and then also set your intention. I'm also locking on to my soul's ascension timeline. And so this appears like a path of light, and it vibrates to your soul frequency. All right, there we go. Everybody's getting on to their ascension timeline. There we go. And then from our heart, we'll connect up to our soul presence, our God self. connecting up to Creator Source, connecting up to all of our spirit teams of angels, guides, ascended masters. We're also, as we set up this sacred space, connecting to nature, the nature spirits, and the elementals of air, fire, water, earth, and ether to do the alchemy. And then finally connecting to Archangel Metatron, and he's going to embed Metatrons Cube under our feet in our grounding. And you're going to step in the center of it, that 13th circle. We're going to get in. And as you step into it and connect, you're starting to give it your life force, and it turns it on. It activates it. That's all it takes. And it begins to respond to your energy and your light and your intention. And those 12 circles start to rise up as 12 pillars of light around the body and aura. And then they begin to rotate. And this is where we begin to activate that anti-clockwise spin. So they're starting to move from right to left around you, spinning up, opening up, and then beginning to increase that spin. Now, this is what's called a radiating spin. So it's opening your field to expand outwards, getting bigger and more expanded, and it's spinning faster. It's starting to unlock time compression. It's beginning to unlock gravity, starting to unlock density. And as it spins faster, here we go, it opens us to the quantum level. All the way out and up. And there we go. We have access to the quantum level, and this allows us to come inside into the energy body, into your chakra pillar, your chakra channel. So it's running right up the center of your body, and we're going to create the spin inwards now too. So it's running outside around your aura, and now we're going to create kind of a tight inner spiral, anti-clockwise, going up your chakra channel. We'll start at the root, at the pelvic floor, and spiral all the way up. We're going through the 7 chakras in the physical body, and then the 5 transpersonal chakras above the crown. There's 12. You can see everything's 12. We're going up, up, up to the top. 12th chakra. All the way up. Excellent. And as we get up here, appears your higher self, your God self. I always see it as a beautiful light being, and you can make a heart-to-heart connection to your higher, wiser self, to your God self. There you go. Making a bond. And now we're going to reverse and bring that soul presence back down the channel. We're still spinning anti-clockwise, but now you're looking up and you're this open receiver, breathing down and in. Soul light, soul love, soul presence coming down the channel into the body. There you go, all the way down and in. It's coming in as golden light and your soul sound waves. Your tones, your frequencies. Yes, and now it's beginning to really fill into the heart center. Imagine the heart's kind of like this open container, and you're filling in the heart with more soul love, soul light, soul consciousness, soul code. It's filling. Keep breathing it in, filling in with more of your soul gifts and soul knowledge and wisdom. Soul mastery. Now it's starting to go even out beyond the edge of your body. Big golden solar sun, filling, expanding, still spinning, counterclockwise. Now, as we get soul energy in us, soul Kundalini, soul life force, then Metatron's Cube begins to activate the Merkaba, and this will start to open up. It's rising up from your feet in Metatron's Cube, double star tetrahedron, beginning to expand and connect to where your soul now is alive and pulsing in your heart. There we go. Upward facing triangular tetrahedron and downward facing triangular tetrahedron, but it all connects at the heart center, right with your soul light, just pulsing. It's almost like a strobe light. Just your heartbeat, your pulse vibration of the soul presence. Yes, there it goes. Just breathe into that for a minute. This is our natural pulse and rhythm, not what we've been living in duality. It's a standing wave pulse of soul light at the center of your heart's stargate. Now, since we have been living in a very polarized chaos field, let's neutralize polarity wherever it's running in the body. And so we're going to use the infinity figure eight of light. This geometry, we call it the figure eight. It represents union and balance and harmony and abundance. So we're going to run the first infinity figure eight right there at that heart center. It's going to run horizontally. And so imagine the center of it's right in the center of your heart. And we're going to loop around the feminine energy over on the left and then come to center and then over to the masculine energy on the right. And you're going to start weaving this infinity of light, left, right, left, or just pulling all your energy to the center point to come into union and balance and harmony. There it goes, it's shifting, and then we begin to release out any disharmony or opposition or negative polarized charge up and out of the physical cells and out of the emotional body. There it goes. And the vortex will release this energy and send it back to source light. That's it. Release it out. Breathe it out. Just let it all come out. Okay, we're going to do this next same action at the mental body, running the infinity of light between your left and right brain, and the center point is connecting them, uniting the left and right brain right there at the corpus callosum. So it's like those banded nerves have been severed from living in time. So we're reconnecting left and right brain to really operate as one whole, complete mind. All right, there they go. They're starting to link up better. And bringing all your mental energy into the center point, into union and balance and harmony. And now we'll release out any disharmony or opposition, discordant energies, negative polarity out of the mental body. And this is where we usually have it pretty rough here. So just release that out. This is where the mind control has come in. Whew, just spin that out to source light. Anything that does not match your soul vibration, your soul signature, your soul frequency, we're calling it to lift up and out of the body, heart, mind, out of the aura. And here we go. Good big layer lifting out. And you just breathe it out, spin it out. This is the cleaning we're doing, the clearings we're doing. Anything that was projected at us, we reverse back out. Any outside ego pushing their will on us, let's reverse that, back out. Does not have permission to be in here. This is your sovereign, sacred space. Woo! Oh, we're getting a great release. Keep spinning, keep breathing it out. You're creating this divine home for the soul to live inside you. And as we're setting up our sacred space, let's also go around the outer boundary of the aura and establish like an orb of light, your personal boundaries in this physical world. So this way then you really are holding your sacred space and your energy isn't leaking out or being taken or fed on. So working with our higher self, we're going to go all the way around 360 degrees and create plasma shields of light all around the outer boundary of your aura. Here we go, all the way around. And this is now establishing as this is my sovereign sacred space. And it connects with your feet as you ground it onto your soul's ascension timeline, and it moves with you wherever you go. So you actually feel like you have personal boundaries now. Ooh, that's good. That's taking hold right now, just locked in. And it's, again, yours, so it responds to you. So it can expand way out with the aura or come close around you. Let's say if you're in like a real populated space, like you get onto a crowded elevator, right? It comes tight around you, and then when you get out, it can open and expand again. So this is where we're starting to work with this Merkaba Taurus. This is our force field. It responds to us. It's our magnetic field. Okay, now let's go back into the heart center. We've had many of us have had multiple lifetimes of pain and suffering living in a very polarized world. So let's bring in some healing light. It's just bring down your channel from source, this crystalline diamond light. Imagine like you're under like a shower of it, just coming down and your channel and moving through your circuitry and into the chakras and organs. And we're just flushing this beautiful heart center that's taken a beating. So you're just getting healing light in there. And we're just going to start to lift up and out any stuck or dense trauma or anxiety, fear, pain, grief, suffering. Ooh, here we go. Just breathe it out. Release it out. Let it go. Spin it up to source. Ooh. Ooh. We're tapping deep into the cellular memory. Past trauma. Ooh. Especially in the heart center. Here comes another layer. This is very common. It just starts rising up in layers. Just like peeling the layers of an onion. We're just lifting. Here comes another layer. Whew. Just letting the body let it go. We're getting out of time. We're coming into the eternal now. And so we're releasing the pain and suffering from time. Ooh, here comes another layer. Whew. And as these rise up into source light, you're getting that beautiful healing light into the deep wounding in the heart. And we're mending and healing and repairing the heart chakra, preparing the heart center to be happy and healthy and full of love, full of life force, full of joy. Whew, there you go. You're shifting, bringing more of that universal divine light in, more love vibration into the heart. Ooh, that's good. It transmutes the pain and suffering. It heals the inner woundings. It heals the heart so the heart feels brave and confident and steady and stable and just radiating love vibration. Radiating love out to the collective. And if you notice, you're grounding to the crystal grid, so you're also bringing love into the earth plane, into the grids and sacred sites. This is how we're supporting the planetary ascension. Okay, so we're in this really expanded state now, and our hearts are healing and opening and filling with love and light. And let's become this open receiver, your channel. Your channel is radiating out and receiving in. So let's focus, using that right brain, that we're open receivers to these powerful blessings and light activations that are coming to us during these cosmic stargates. So let's breathe in the 11, 11, 11 energies down into the mind, into the third eye and pineal, down into the heart center, all the way in. Just breathing them coming down from the heavens, down your channel and into the body, into the circuitry, into the chakras. Whew. This is also a powerful stream of Christ consciousness coming in. Breathing that in. It's 12th dimensional light language, light code, light frequencies. Ooh, here that comes in. Breathe that in. And this light is helping to activate more of our soul blueprint, our ascension blueprint, our ascension codes inside. Breathe that in. Lighting up these dormant ascension codes, waiting for this brilliant light coming in. Whew. Activating more of our 12-strand DNA, our multidimensional DNA, activating more of our light body, turning everything on. Whew. Also, it's helping balance your yin and yang energies, your feminine on the left, masculine on the right. Imagine the 1111 codes are pulling your feminine and masculine together to unite in your heart center, in union and balance and harmony. Ooh, that's good. I always see the Ascension a template of it's called the Vesica Pisces, but it's the two interlocking gold rings. One is representing your masculine, one is representing your feminine. Where they overlap, there's the union of your yin-yang energy. Yes, let that light up in your heart. Whew. Vibrating that soul union, soul love of your God, Goddess energies inside your heart. This is what 1111 is really emphasizing now, really, really accelerating, strengthening, powering up in our hearts. And we also have these powerful cosmic stargates coming in December of the 1212 and the 1221. And so since we're in this quantum vortex of all time, no time, we can connect wherever we focus. So let's start to connect to this powerful infusion of the 12, the sacred 12, master 12 energy coming in as well. Again, more of the Christ consciousness coming in. That's part of the master codes. More of our balancing coming in. And more of the Merkaba mysticism. So this again is helping to activate more of the inner light body of the Merkaba. There we go. Just let that ripple through you. Whew. Just opening up more, activating more. Your feet are grounding this onto your crystalline grid platform there. You're grounding on your Ascension timeline. We're holding open to the infinite now, all that is, that exists in our infinite holographic universe of all possibilities. Just breathing in all of that support coming into you, into your heart's magnetism, all the abundance coming into the heart magnetism, all that you need to live your soul life plan fully and fulfilling. Ooh, that's coming into the heart center. Spitting in very fast, coming in. Open receiver of all of this support and abundance coming into you. Just pause for a minute and visualize what it is you really need right now to support you, and see that coming down in the light stream into your core, into your heart center. It could be financial support, it could be a new home, it could be healthy, loving relationships, it could be fulfilling your soul service, your soul's work, being a creator being. Whew. Breathe it in, visualize it in, feeling into the heart. Whew. Spinning in, coming in. It's populating into the heart's magnetic fields that wrap around your heart center. You start to draw it in, magnetize it in, pulling in what you need to support you, to live your soul life fully. And now let's pull all this in deep inside from the quantum level down into the physical life and into your physical body. You can tap on your arms, your legs as you're pulling it deep into the cells, into the atoms in the cells, all the way down inside you. Merging in, blending in, becoming one with you. All the activations, healings, and cosmic blessings coming in. Whew. Breathe it in, spin it in. It's very fast spin right now, going deep inside you. Anchoring it in, grounding it in. Whew. And now we're starting to go into the balance point, the 0 point. Connecting us to all that is. all coming into harmony and balance inside the body, the heart, the mind. And this is where we come back into full circle, into the stillness, that all that we are, to create this in this now. And we set this into motion. And so it is. So it is. And that completes our activation for today. Namaste.
Thank you, Meg.
Oh, my pleasure.
Oh, that is something that I encourage everyone to listen to again. And I want to allow people to kind of stay here as much as possible. So I want to say thank you, Meg. You're always a delight to have here. And what a blessing.
I'm just so happy to be here with you. Thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome. And to everybody, I'm going to let you guys kind of stay in this energy. So thank you for the tremendous gift of your light, your presence, your love, your time today. Please consider gifting yourself with the opportunity to support your ascension with Meg's beautiful offer. And we'll send you information in your replay email later. And until next time, I'm sending waves and waves of love and light and gratitude directly from my heart to yours. May you feel it, receive it, offer it to those you encounter today or tonight, wherever you are in the world. And as always, until we join together again, please give yourself full permission to shine instead of shrink, express instead of suppress, and own that amazing, powerful glow of yours. I'll see all of you back here in this playground of light next time, everybody. Bye-bye.